Hey everybody, Anthony from HaslageNet here, and I feel like this works better if my audio isn't paused. So, the Switch 2 was officially revealed today. They called it a first look, and for anybody who knows me, knows from 2019 to 2023, I was a Nintendo merchandising employee, and I am going to go through and explain what some people don't know, because I had a discussion with a couple of people who didn't know what some of these things were. And I want to start with, we started hearing about Switch Pro rumors almost immediately once I was hired. Now, for those of you who don't deal with a modern business, a lot of modern businesses have like Teams or Discord or something for their employees to communicate with. And that's not different from what Nintendo had for us. So we were constantly in communications, and rumors and other just general talk would filter through. And so we would hear things. Eventually, Nintendo, if they see enough of something or other, they will say, well, here, we're going to give you some talking points because we don't want any misinformation to get out there. And so we had a list of, if somebody asks about a Switch Pro, this is what you say. Now, what we didn't know was the OLED was about to pop, and we heard a lot of discussion about features that the OLED would have that they did not seem to have when they released, and apparently, based on what we know now, are most likely things that ended up in the Switch 2. Now, anybody who is aware of Nintendo as a company is aware that they're highly litigious, but they're also fairly cheap, so if they don't have to spend money, they won't spend money. So what we get is essentially they decide, well, we're going to keep the pricing for the original Switch around this. So here's the Lite, here's the OLED, and we'll move features that we are going to be more expensive later down the chain, so they're less expensive and they'll look more impressive. So what we end up with is what is now being called the Switch 2 officially. So let's start by going to the video. I will play it, and I will pause it, give a commentary on what the feature is here. A couple of things. I was like, should I say it now? But I think what I'll do is play through the video, let you see it for yourself, and then from there, I kind of make the commentary, because I think that's the best approach. So let me get to the right thing here. Got a lot going on. Oh, that's a weird thing for that to do. So yeah, we're going to just throw this out here, and we're going to hit play on this. And this video is about 2 minutes, 21 seconds long. And we see the Nintendo Switch, the Switch Classic. And so it's showing you the Switch Classic with its rails, the system it has now, the type of screen. So the Switch 2 is to report it have an 8-inch screen. I don't know if that includes the bezels or not, because you will see momentarily that the bezels look that similar to the current version of the original Switch. You're going to see here, this is the bottom USB-C port. This one is for docking. This is for power. This is for the dock itself. So it will have the same capabilities as the current Switch and that port. The Switch and Switch OLED. The buttons for power and volume are, of course, generally where they were on the current line of Switches. So there is a second USB-C port. Somebody asked about dual charging. I don't think that's going to be a thing. I feel like this will be used for mostly using accessories. To what extent, I don't know. I don't think dual charging, but maybe pass through. But then why, the dock port at the bottom. So not exactly 100% sure what else it would be beyond using accessories with this port. And of course, there's a mic jack. So we see the kickstand here, and they're going to show it in full range. The joints are much stronger than the original Switch, probably more in line with the OLED. And I think that we see at the bottom there is a SD card port. My understanding, and again, anything I'm saying in this video is allegedly, my understanding is that it could support the 8 terabyte cards, but the extreme speed ones, which are like $1,000 or something right now. So I think there was like 2 lower end ones that are around $100 that would probably be more suitable for most people. In addition, so it is obviously a micro SD port, or micro, and you'll see the degree in which this expands, which is actually pretty nice. Now, for a minute there, you saw the sides of the rails, and so it hasn't shown you yet what they're going to look like, because there's technically no real rails. So, so they do enlarge. Obviously, they have to enlarge the Joy-Con to match the scale of the system itself. So that is essentially what you're seeing here, and there is going to be a couple extra buttons here. So on the first, you see on the right Joy-Con, people calling it the C button. I don't know if that'll officially be its name. This is a CGI render, obviously, so they could decide it's C later on. It is actually the social media button. It's there was a playtest end of last year exploring a social media feature, and my understanding is this button relates to basically all those things that have been so far relegated on the original Switch to a mobile app. So that is what that is supposed to be, supposedly. So while we're watching this, Hall Effect sticks is what I'm understanding. So it's not going to be the basic gear system they've been using on the Switch. Has had so many lawsuits, but a Hall Effect, which is a lot more reliable and less likely to have stick drift. So this is the new rail, and as you see, it includes some magnetic tabs on the top and bottom. L and R Z buttons. I don't know what they're calling that. It says SL and SR. Then there is a syncing button. There is the connection tab in the middle there, which relays the controls. So this is my guess here that the controls being connected aren't wireless at that point, and they will also be charged because there's more than enough pins to do that. There's also a mouse laser. And we'll see in a second how that is used. Oh, they kind of skipped over it, and I'll see the show it in a sec. There we go. I don't know if you can see the little nubs. There are 3 buttons on there. There is the, if you're holding it in normal position with each Joy-Con in a hand, there is the basically what would be the L1, L2, or whatever they call it. I think it's LR1, LR2, whatever they call it in the current Switch. But then there is a third button. Now, if you had the Switch or the Switch OLED, you know there's a release to release the rails. Well, there is a new, different release for the magnet, which is, if you remember one of the magnets that we just saw a minute ago, what it is basically a push to demagnetize. So it allows you to see that. So, or allows you to release that, I should say. So what we're seeing here is the use as a mouse. And somebody did ask a question if I had really been a Nintendo employee. Yes, for 4 years. Anyway, I was in the merchandising department. So what you see here is basically the cover, I guess, what we call it. It clips on that little button you see in the bottom center of the screen there. That is what releases the clip. What happens is you can use it as a mouse. And then the L and LZ buttons, that's what they're called, LLZ. They are used, and R and RZ in the case of the other controller, are used as left and right triggers. because the assumption is there's going to be games that use mouse functionality, such as role-playing games and Sims, which it'd be great because I prefer to play Sims with a mouse and a keyboard. So we'll continue on. So the connection is there's a notch in the bottom, and then you click it in, and then the button on the back of the controller releases, and another tab clicks in. So again, when you release it, you would push the button, the third button, the most inner button on the Joy-Con to release the controller. So a little bit of information here, and I think the screen's coming up. So this is the future Mario Kart. We don't know what it's actually going to be called. Probably, I guess, Mario Kart 8 Ultimate, because they already did Deluxe. Because, frankly, it looks pretty much the same to me. But this is a horrible quality image. But you'll see in the background here, Classic DK. Yep, there. He's back there. Well, if you go back, you can see him. So Classic DK. So it could be they're going to keep pushing 8 forward. Some people suspect they're going to do some type of open world game. I don't know. I know nothing about the new Mario Kart game. At the time I was still employed with Nintendo, they were talking about the Pass, which has since been released and doubled the game's course track size and added a number of characters and vehicles. So when I was working for Nintendo, there was a discussion on the Pro, when people were calling it the Pro, originally the OLED, was it going to push 4K? And we were told that was something being looked at. We weren't told yes or no, just that they're always looking forward to new technologies. And originally the dock was supposed to have some type of inner processing for itself to blow up the screen beyond the 10K you would get now to a 4K on the quote-unquote Pro. So the leakers have said that the docks now are enhanced in the way that we thought they would be for the OLED with 4K capabilities because of an upscaling technology in the dock itself, which also says that the screens will be natively 1080 instead of 720, which I think is a great number, just two great numbers to have, like 2K in the hand, 4K on screen. I think that's just brilliant. So we'll go on, and then the other thought I had for a sec. So it will release this year. The rumor is at the end of Q2, which is April, May, June. So anytime in that window. I think they're... Okay, so yeah, here's the other point. So when I was in the conversation still, we were being told that a number of second and third party developers didn't want physical backwards capability. Nintendo had told everybody, we are going to push for NSO, Nintendo Network, to be moved forward through the systems, because you see they kind of did it a little bit, trying to get the profiles and stuff moved from the Wii U, but they didn't move any of your downloads or anything, you know? So, but they want to be more like Sony with the PlayStation and move forward progressively. So, in theory, you should be able to move the majority of your content digitally forward. Now, because if you have a Nintendo Switch account, you should also include moving your save files forward. But as I said, a number of the companies weren't really a fan of that. Obviously, it benefits them if there is no backwards capability, because people would have to buy their games again. But Nintendo really pushed for full, or at least as close as full as they can get to backwards capability, so they could, of course, provide the best gaming experience. And, I mean, frankly, Nintendo, number one handheld, no argument there. But they want to compete with PlayStation, at least on the a level of compatibility, or Microsoft, for example, who actually has compatibility going all the way back to the first system. but they want to stay with the trend. Nintendo isn't really competing with Microsoft or Sony, but they want to be in the game. So somebody asked me what the power level is going to be on this system. My understanding at the time, and again, this is 2023-ish, they wanted to try to hit numbers around the PlayStation 4 Pro. Did they get there? I don't know. If you know anything about Nintendo, they're really good at compression, so they possibly could run PlayStation 4 Pro capable of games. It may not be exactly as perfect as the PlayStation 4 runs, but you may remember the PlayStation 4 was advertised with 8K for about 15 minutes, so, but we'll see. And as far as what games may or may not be fully compatible with the Nintendo Switch 2, otherwise, I don't know what those could be. Maybe things with certain attachments, maybe. I mean, I feel like Ring Fit 2 is bound to happen, but maybe like, they have the NFC reader, so Amiibos probably should still be compatible. So I'm trying to think of accessories that wouldn't be compatible still. Labo, maybe. I don't know. Let's continue forward. So this is the direct date for 2025. Some people thought it was a release date. It clearly is a direct date. After this direct date, I think on the 5th of April, Nintendo's New York store will be getting a few days of preview. And then it will be going to other places in the United States. I do not know about the rest of the world, but I have to assume the same will be happening with those. So that is what to look forward to. I imagine they'll do the typical thing where they go into greater detail about all the features. But I have covered what I was aware of and filled in some blanks with what the leakers have said. I do not have the actual stats on the system. I think the number some people are giving may be a little too low. But we'll know officially in less than 3 months. So I think definitely looking forward to this. I probably am not going to buy day one. I bought my Wii on day one, and it was buggy, and I've been kind of hesitant to buy first pilot systems out in release because I don't want to be one of those people who have to return it, get it wiped, or get a new one altogether, and then have to replay all my games again or something, because that is just frankly dumb. Then again, back in the Wii day, you didn't have the cloud to save anything to. Anyway, that's. I think this is the end of the ad. Yeah, and that was that. So hi John and Eli times. So essentially, I think I've covered it. That is basically what we know officially based on what we've seen and to be able to explain it. So it is pretty straightforward what it is, and hopefully you're positive or optimistic about it. I personally think the system's going to go for probably, I don't know, $450. I feel like that's where the number is. This is some decent features on there. Mouse controls look nice. Obviously, it's going to be keyboard compatible, which makes me think that you're going to do a special keyboard. Maybe that's what the USB-C is on top for that particular accessory. The dock, the leakers say that it has the same number of USB ports on its side. Hopefully they're USB 3 compatible, because I don't know if the current ones are actually. Fun thing here, I wanted to, and I will switch to it. So here is my Switch. I'm going to pull this out here. And as you see, it has two just regular USB ports, so I'm kind of hoping for more advancements. The back end, and I can't imagine them downgrading the availability of features. Should have the you can't see it. Turn a light on, should have the AC adapter port, the HDMI out, and the LAN connections. I feel like this is an absolute, not something they're going to downgrade. But I imagine that the back end of it is going to be a little bit more thick. Maybe these ports will be on the opposite side from the USB ports. Maybe they'll be on this side. I kind of get the idea of wanting to keep it clean looking from the exterior, but if you're going to throw in an air pushing fan and some upscaling chips, this would take up a little bit of space. So I don't know, but definitely thinking that is going to be rearranged differently in the least. So let me switch back to the screen here, and I clicked on the wrong thing. Okay. So, yeah, that is essentially it. There isn't really much more to go over because it did not provide any actual numbers. It just said, here, look at all this, and ooh and ah. So, remember April 2nd, 2025, be a Nintendo Direct. You know they're going to announce it a day or two before it happens. So, look forward to that. My guess, $400 price tag. Post yours in the comments. Thanks for watching.